better. Okay, so the ISFJs and ISTJs, they're the opposite of the types we just talked about. They have introverted sensing SI as their dominant function and extroverted intuition NE as their inferior function. So they're doing the opposite of what those other types did that we just talked about. They are overemphasizing forming routine experiences and rituals for their inner world and underemphasizing exploring new possibilities and reimagining their experiences. These types struggle with all of the random possibilities that could disrupt their established way of doing things. So their instinct is to protect their routines from chaotic unpredictability. So this has the unfortunate effect of leading them to reject healthy imagination and curiosity that could make them feel unsafe, considering new ways of doing things, not what they want to be doing. So the way to improve this situation is to leave openings in your routine to allow yourself some time to ponder NE-style questions. So these questions can include, what if this happens? What are a few things that could happen as a result? Or if this is the worst case scenario, what are several other possibilities that could also be considered? So by doing this, leaving yourself a little space to do some NE, knowing that you can safely return to the routine. If you get too far out in the crazy abstract world, you can let go of the anxiety of not knowing what could happen because you're starting to expand the roadmap yourself. With all the IJs, I think one of the biggest issues is, well, actually really with all the types, I think they're worried about losing control. Like the inferior function feels out of their control, and so that's part of the scary thing. So I think what we're finding here is that what you got to do for every type is take control, assert control over that inferior function to lessen the anxiety surrounding it. Okay, now we're talking about the INFJs and INTJs. They have introverted intuition, NI, as their dominant function, and extroverted sensing as their inferior function, SE. So they overemphasize forming conclusions and concepts for their inner world and underemphasize seeking experiences that could challenge those conclusions. The NI dominants tend to struggle with accepting that they are missing or not observing detailed information because the SE is all the details, because their instinct is to protect the abstract systems that they have developed that help them predict their environment. So, in other words, the NI types are always setting up a bunch of systemized ways of doing things that allow them to not have to worry about the details. So an INTJ, for example, will spend like 6 hours figuring out a formula for an Excel spreadsheet so that they can just type in one number and fill it out automatically without having to do 2 hours of work putting in all the detailed data, overemphasizing the systems and getting that to work to avoid the actual nitty-gritty. And so ultimately that leads them to rejecting healthy exploration of new experiences and getting into those details which could disrupt their security that they have built up with the fortress of introverted intuition. So the way to improve this situation is to deliberately seek out and gather new concrete information that could critique or even totally mess up your abstract system or conceptualization. So by developing and choosing your own exploration, choose your own adventure, you can let go of the anxiety of not feeling like you can handle stuff in reality because you will have more experience handling it. Ultimately, these types need to learn to occasionally go out there without a plan and be spontaneous and seek out new information beyond what their understanding of the world already is. I think these types like to think they're open-minded, especially the INFJs, but they really actually find a way to take even new things that they learn and turn it back into their old way of understanding things. Because the chaos of SE, of the details, of reality, frightens them. Okay, next up we'll talk about the IPs, the introverted perceivers. They will always have trouble connecting with others if it could risk the integrity of their own inner standards.
Leonardo da Vinci seems to have encrypted